everybody. I had to delete the very beginning of my video because I was doing this resin pour in my new craft room at my house. So the entire beginning of the video was basically just me talking about the colors I was using and the cup I was using and basically what we're going to do. But the whole time all you saw was my hands, and I didn't realize that. So so here we are. We're going to be using a 12-ounce cup from Crafthaven. It's just a little 12-ounce kiddie cup. The colors that I'm using, and these are all mica powders, Lagoon from Sparkly Memaw, Midnight Dream from Glitter Heart Co., Tiff from Glitter Heart Co., and Raspberry Bliss from Glitter Heart Co. And you'll see the colors as I'm mixing them in the next part of the video there. I don't remember if I used the Sterling Alloy from Ranger, but just in case, you know why I have an extra cup there. It's just in case I want to use that Silver Alloy ink from Ranger ink. So what we're going to do is basically just, I'm going to mix up all my epoxy, separate it into, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little cups, 6 little cups, because I'm also using white alcohol ink from Brie Reese. And we're going to mix those up separately in 5 or 6 little different cups. Then we're going to take those cups, pour them into one cup, and then pour it over the tumbler while it's on the turner. So, and I'm actually pouring over a tray mold that I have. So just so I didn't waste any of that, and I could just make a pretty tray as well. So I really hope you guys have enjoyed this series. If you want to see more, let me know. My next series, I think, I don't know what we're going to do. Probably some type of vinyl on cups, vinyl, glitter, vinyl. I don't know. Well, I'll figure out something. But I'm still in the process of getting my new craft space all together and organized. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed this series. And if you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below. And I will see you next time. Bye. Okay guys, we are back and I have got my epoxy mixed. I took you off camera to mix my epoxy because I actually mixed a little bit more than I normally do. So I mixed 30, 60, 90, 120 mils because I'm actually going to let the drippings from my cup go onto a tray. So I wanted to mix just a little bit more epoxy than I normally would. If you're not letting the drippings go onto a tray, you can do 30, 40 mils of epoxy and you'll be fine. So we've got our epoxy here. I'm just going to take it and I'm just taking my little medicine cups and just putting a little bit in each one to get it mixed. And the amount you put in each one just depends on how much of any one color you want. So if you want more of like the teal color, then you're gonna put more in the little cup. If you want less of one, then you'll same thing. And so this one will be silver, so I'm just gonna put just a little bit because I don't want a ton of silver, just in case we use it. And I also forgot to tell you I'm doing white as well. And we are using, we're using the T-Rex. No, I'm sorry. It's not the T-Rex. It's the Brie Reese white alcohol ink. I was thinking it was the T-Rex, but it wasn't. I still have all my alcohol inks packed. I haven't unpacked any of them, so I'm just kind of evening all these out. I'm going to leave a little extra just in case we want to do another cup. So here we have all of our little cups. This is our silver back here because we don't have as much of it. Now we're going to just mix. Let me get my gloves off. We are going to just mix our mica powders into the epoxy. So I've just got these big popsicle sticks. I'll break them in half, so it saves me from wasting so much. And I've got a couple that stuck together there. So I will start with my Lagoon from Sparkly Memaw. And this is a really pretty color. I've only used it a couple of times, as you can see. But I'm just going to take maybe a tablespoon, about that much, and just put it in my epoxy. And as I go, I'll gauge how deep the colors are, and you know, if we need to add more, we can add more then. So this is the Raspberry Bliss from Glitter Heart Co. This is the Tiff from Glitter Heart Co. Let's see, it's that teal color. I hope these colors are pretty together. I am not the greatest at matching colors. And then this is the Midnight Dream. This one is one of my favorites, and it's got kind of a sparkle to it. It's like almost blue purple. So it's one of my favorite ones. And then our white alcohol ink. I'm not even sure if I've used this or not. Yeah, I have. So I'll just put a few drops. Oh yeah, I've used that. It's almost gone. Just put a few drops in there. So then you're just going to stir all these up really well. And I'm using the white alcohol ink in the epoxy just to kind of get the colors to blend a little bit better. Because I feel like if we didn't, they would all just kind of run together and you wouldn't be able to really see anything. So we're just, and whenever you do mica powder, just be very careful when you first start to stir it, because it will go everywhere. And I was thinking about it this morning, and I think I actually, I already got it on my little stick here. I don't know if you can see that, it might be on camera. I think I actually have done a video like this already. If I have, I'll go back and look, and if I have, I'll stick it up here or I'll put it down in the description. But on your mica, on the epoxy that you have the mica powder in, you want to make sure and stir it very, very well. Don't leave chunks of that mica powder in there. So you just want to make sure it's stirred up and really smooth. Because those chunks, if you don't get them, they will show up on your cup. And it's not pretty. So, see, that's our, oh, sorry, that's our blue. It's really, really pretty. It's almost purple. And it's got a shimmer to it, so I like that one. So I will get the rest of these stirred up real quick, and we will move on to the next. Oh, and I was going to tell you also, don't use fast set epoxy for this. Because you, especially if you're using several colors like I am, if you use fast set epoxy, it's gonna cure, or it's gonna harden faster than you need it to. So I am actually using CC DIY. I'm using their epoxy. I ran out of my KS resin, so I had some CC DIY just kind of laying around, so I'm using it. And I like their epoxy. It just has, to me, and this is just my opinion, I love the epoxy itself. It's not real bubbly and it works really well, but it's got a strong smell to me. But you know, some people think KS resin has a strong smell, so and the ideal thing to do is not what I just did. Put your mica powder in your cup first, and it makes it a little bit easier to stir these up. So I'm going to get these stirred up, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and mix this silver just in case. And alloys, the Ranger alloys are heavy, so they tend to sit on top of the epoxy. So I'm going to show you this, and I hope that you're able to tell in the frame, but it kind of looks like chrome. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it almost looks like chrome. So just keep in mind that those actually sit on top of your mix. Cocktail cups I got from Dollar Tree or something. So I'm just going to pour them in here. So I'm going to start with my white. I'm going to get these sticks out of here real quick. Then I'm going to move on and put some of the blue in there. And I'm not putting all of it, I'm only putting about half of it. Then I think I'm going to put some of the pink. And you can layer these however you want. They layer them how you think you want them to look on the cup. So here's a little bit of silver. I'm not using a ton of that silver because it'll take over like crazy. And I'm going to use this teal. And like I said, I'm only putting about half in there. And then we will do the blue. And I'm going in with just a little dot of silver. I mean, it's just a dot. And a little bit more white. I'll put the rest of my white in there. And at this point, you can actually just scrape your cup out and just get the rest out. Then our blue again. And a little bit, I want this pink kind of spread throughout, so I'm not using all the pink yet. And then green. Or teal. I say green, it looks green to me. Put the rest of that in there. Then another little dot of silver. The rest of our blue. And I know I scraped the crud out of my little cups, but I don't like wasting the epoxy, so. And then the rest of my pink. Okay. Now, I knew there was a reason that I kept that extra epoxy. Because I'm going to put an actual, yeah, this is almost gone. It's done for. Okay. I'm just mixing up a little bit more white because I want a little bit of that white on top. That's why I saved that extra. Okay, there we go. Our colors are all mixed. A little bit more silver. I'm going to leave that one to the side. Okay, got our colors all mixed. I'm gonna clean up my mess here real quick. move this off to the side and we can start doing our cup. So let me get my camera turned around so where you can see the cup, and we will get started. Okay, we are on our little cup. I'm going to zoom you in just a little bit. And I have laid it's just let me pull it out here real quick. It's just a silicone tray to make trays, to make epoxy trays. I'm just laying that under there to catch any extra epoxy. So this one's fairly simple, and I'm thinking I probably shouldn't have used that. I'm going to change that out real quick, guys. I shouldn't have used that insert. So let me change that out real quick. I'll be right back. Okay, we got it switched out. I needed an insert that didn't stick out because that epoxy will stick to it. So, okay, now what we're going to do, we're just going to pour all this epoxy over this cup. This is a stainless steel cup. I have not sanded it. I cleaned it. I've touched it since then. I probably need to clean it again. But I have sanded it, or I didn't sand it, I'm sorry. But I did clean it with alcohol, so. But I just touched it. So, we are just going to go for it. So you just pour however you want to pour. And I should have put more white in there because it's going to come out a little bit dark, but that's okay. Make sure you hit the bottom of this cup. And again, you don't have to worry about hitting every little spot on the cup because this is going to spin out and it's going to cover this cup, and you can actually get heat and kind of get it to move a little bit, but your whole cup will get covered. I'm just getting the rest of this out. And if you saw my last video, I kind of gave you a tip about the rim of the cup. So with mica powder, it'll pull away from the rim of that cup. So you just want to, once it starts curing in about 15 minutes, you just want to come in and make sure that take some of what's left on the bottom up here on your silicone mat or whatever, if you're using a tray. Just make sure, just take some of that and kind of just get it around the edges. And I'm actually going to take this silver. Actually, that's not what I'm going to do. I'm going to take some of this down here and just get it. I just see a couple of spots that if it spins for just a minute and you don't see it getting all over the cup, just take some extra and put it on there. It's not that big of a deal. And then I had a spot on the bottom that did not get covered. Alrighty. And again, I'm going to come back in here in just a little bit and just make sure that that top part gets covered. There's a little bit extra. You can actually even leave a little bit extra in your cup for that. So usually works out okay. So I am going to let this spin for just a minute. I'm just trying to get as much on that rim as possible. Hopefully I don't have to cover it too much whenever it's done. I'm going to let this spin for just a minute, and I'm going to let it quit dripping into the tray. And I will come back and I'll show you what we're going to do with the tray. Okay, it's been about 10 minutes. So I'm just cleaning up the edges of this, just to make sure that my mica powder didn't pull away a whole ton, but a little bit. So I'm just making sure that that's all covered up. So there's our cup. So I don't think I can zoom in anymore. Maybe a little bit. Where you can see it. When you do this method, the colors tend to come out very very, I don't know how to explain this, but this is normally, every time I've done one at least, this is how it comes out. Now, if you don't like the way this turns out, I really like this. It's really pretty. But if you don't like the way this turns out, you can go in and, you know, mix some white epoxy into or mix some white alcohol ink into epoxy. Sprinkle it over the top, heat it up, just like you would an alcohol ink cup. You could go in and I have this extra silver. I could go in and just kind of, you know, dab silver everywhere, heat it up, let it spin. I mean, it's really up to you. There's, you know, if you don't like the way it turns out, just play with it. And see what you can come up with. Worst case scenario, you can always strip a cup and do it again. So now let me show you what we're going to do with our tray. And in that, I'm going to scooch you over. Whoops. I'm going to scooch you back over this way. And we're going to move this tray out. This is what we have in our tray. So I am actually going to take this silver and just kind of sprinkle it in. Just all over the tray. And hopefully I have enough. So what we're going to do is we're just going to tilt this epoxy, and I may have to heat it up a little bit, but I'm just going to tilt this epoxy in this tray just until it covers the bottom of the tray. And I do have to warm it up just a little bit. So I'm going to actually take this over here and do this. Okay, I just took my heat gun and heated it up. So I'm just going to let this go. And it takes it a minute, guys. It's not, especially if you wait until that epoxy's completely cured. It takes it a minute. So, and it's only, excuse me, if you mixed up as much epoxy as I did, it's only going to cover the very bottom of this tray, which is fine. That's what I want it to do. That is exactly what I want it to do. Because after this is cured, or dried, I'm not sorry, cured, we are going to just throw another coat of epoxy on top of it. And it's cool with these trays, you can actually bend them so all of it doesn't drip off the other end. So it's kind of neat. So I'm just trying to cover the whole bottom of this tray. And like I said, it takes it forever. It's very slow moving. Okay. Alright, and there we have it. So that will actually sit and cure, or not cure, but it'll dry along with our cup. And then again, we will just pour another coat of epoxy over it and put the handles on, and we'll have a tray. So actually, you know what, well, no, my epoxy's not thick enough. If my epoxy was thick enough, I could actually stick the handles on now. And what you do is you just take it's just two handles. You just take it and set it in there, and it'll set, and the handles will cure in the epoxy. And then you can pour the rest of it over. So once this is all dried, I will come back and show you the final results, and then we will go over all the cups that we made with every series. And I'll show you how those are all finally cured, and they all look beautiful. So we'll show you that, and I will see you then. Alright everybody, here's our finished cup. Turned out really pretty. One thing you do have to watch for, and I'll show you. If I can do this, because I'm holding the camera. When you do these resin cups, you have to watch for bubbles on the bottom. I do kind of have a little bit of a bubble, which I can sand and fix that, but you do have to watch for that. So here is our finished tray. So it actually came out really, really pretty. So that's our finished tray. And these are all the cups that we've done in our series. There's the first one we did, just the acrylic paint. And then I believe this was the second one. And I did go in and actually put a little bit of Mr. Nola's crew juice on this one to give it a little bit of sparkle. This one is my favorite. And then there's our third one. And then our last one. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this series, the Dirty Pour series. I hope it helps some of you get creative, get your creative juices flowing. I really enjoyed doing this one. It was my favorite. I'm working on the next one, so I will see you in about a week. And we're going to actually try to get an ombre in the frame this time. So I will see you guys next week. Thanks for watching. Bye.